NoDQ Galaxy, welcome to the NoDQ review number 332. I am Gino, and I am honored to be your host for this post-WrestleMania 41 edition of the review. I am joined here by our fearless leader, Aaron Rift, as always. Dwayne is with us. Song, welcome back. Colin the Cleaver Andrew gets to sit back and share his takes after being a great interim host. And the returning ORM. Virtue is back on the review. Virtue, how you doing today?
What's up? So WrestleMania 41 was this past weekend, and everybody was bitching about stuff. But then Monday night, everybody was happy because it was a Triple H special Raw After Mania. Make up your effing mind, you stupid marks. You either like it or you don't. And I can't wait to talk about everything. And I don't have to moderate nothing. I can just give my opinion when I'm called upon. It's good to be back.
I'm glad to we are all glad to have you back. I'm sure the chat room is glad to have you back as well. And we look forward to hearing all of your opinions on both WrestleMania and Raw. We also have Dwayne, who I believe this is one of his first reviews. So Dwayne, how are you doing today?
Doing pretty good, man. I got to admit, it's been a long 7 days, so to speak, between trying to focus on going out of town on vacation, having to tie in SmackDown, Stand and Deliver, 2 nights of WrestleMania, and a 12-hour drive home on top of that. But it was worth it, I had a great time. Last night was probably one of the best Raw After Manias I've seen in a long time, so I'm really looking forward to this one.
Happy to have you on. We've got Song returning. Last time he was on, he cooked it up, so we're happy to have him back. How you doing, Song?
Hey everybody, Son Goshuaku here. Definitely ready to talk about what I thought was a good, but not great, but still good WrestleMania. And yeah, like Dwayne said, fantastic Monday Night Raw after WrestleMania. So I'm ready to talk pro wrestling with you gentlemen.
Wonderful. Again, happy to have you back. Colin the Cleaver Andrew, how are we doing today, bud?
I'm good, man. I'm sick, but I'm good. It's good to be here. Congratulations on your win this past weekend as the now head of the table of the review for this week. It's good to have Virtue back. Uh, it's hard to fill your shoes, bro. It's been a while. It was a little frustrating. So to steal what you said, it's kind of nice just to be able to kick back, relax, wait until I'm called upon. It's good to see Dwayne. It's good to see Song again. Always good to see the boss man. It's been a fun weekend, interesting weekend. I'm ready for it. And thanks again for the last 4 weeks, everybody, for letting me host this show. I appreciate that. So let's get into it. Show your love for Gino. Show your love for Aaron. And the one, the returning Virtue. So I'm excited to be here. Thank you.
Absolutely. And last but not least, our fearless leader, Aaron, how are you doing today?
I'm doing well, thank you. It's been a very busy week, obviously. We do have a couple of super chats already, and I've also noticed a few new people in the chat room tonight, so thank you for tuning in. I hope you enjoyed the stream. We're on every single Tuesday night. We discuss wrestling, we break it down, we all have different opinions. Some of them are logical, some of them are a little off the wall, but very balanced. You're going to get a lot of different viewpoints on the world of wrestling. Well, for this stream in particular, it will be WWE because we got a lot to discuss from WrestleMania Saturday, WrestleMania Sunday, Raw After Mania. Now, first of all, Mr. Sunset Rider sent in a $5 super chat. Thank you. Says, very excited for the post-WrestleMania No DQ review. 4 letters, 1 word, yeet. There you go. We do have a new World Heavyweight Champion. I'm sure we'll have some opinions on that. And Psycho Jet Black is here, so we'll see how long this stream goes tonight. Says, hey, Virtue, are you going to pay my brother-in-law, Mike Peters? What was the whole deal with that? I forgot.
Rock had to be champion after WrestleMania, so you're going to have to ask him. I don't remember what it was. It was like a gift card bet, like 20 or 25 bucks.
All right, I'll reach out.
One thing I do remember, although Rock is not champion, neither is Cody Rhodes. So I'm willing to give him that money, because Cody Rhodes is no longer the WWE champion.
All right, there you have it.
I'll take that $25 loss all day long.
Mike said he's happy that Rock was not at WrestleMania, but we'll discuss that in just a little bit.
But he's not happy of a certain somebody who is the president of the United States. So you can't always be happy.
That is true. Psycho Jet Black sent in a $5 super chat. Thank you for that, Psycho Jet Black. Says, do you think when they started booking Braun Breaker, they learned the lessons on what to do and what not to do from the Roman Reigns booking? I think that they have done a really good job with Braun Breaker. They've made him a balanced character. He's not like your twirl the mustache bad guy, nor is he like the Hulk Hogan baby face. He's kind of just Braun Breaker, and I think they've done a really good job with him. Would everybody agree with that take, that Braun Breaker is a solid character? Like, he's just a badass. You know, that's
Roman Reigns wasn't with Paul Heyman until 2020. Braun Breaker's already with Paul Heyman. Big difference, huge difference. Because look what it did for Roman Reigns.
Absolutely. So I'm really happy about that. But again, we'll talk about that in a little bit. Braun Breaker's getting the rocket strapped to him, and I'm all for it. So, Gino, on that note, I'm sure Psycho Jet Black will have a lot more to say. But before that, Oofman is here. Oofman was on last week. Oof says, will you guys discuss what The Rock said on Pat McAfee's show today? Very interesting interview. I think we will. I think when we discuss the finish of WrestleMania, we can discuss The Rock too, and everybody can give their take on that. You know, were they disappointed that The Rock was not there? Were they like my brother-in-law? Were they happy that The Rock wasn't there? We will definitely discuss that. Oof, thank you for the super chat. I appreciate it. And now, Gino, I will throw it over to you, and let's get this ball rolling, baby, as Big G would say.
All right, guys, strap in. We're going to have a great show for everybody today. As I said at the top, WrestleMania 41 is in our rearview mirror as is one of the best Raw After Manias of all time. So I want to go around and get your guys' thoughts on WrestleMania 41. And I would like to start with the returning Virtue. Let's see what you got.
Okay, so the main event of night 2, the way they played it out, John Cena said you guys will get nothing, and that's exactly what he gave you. The way they won, I do not like Travis Scott. Like, I would have rather just had Cena cheat with a knocked out ref and no Travis Scott out there to become champion. I'm a little upset The Rock wasn't there just because I just wanted business to be finished. Now, we'll talk about what he said on Pat McAfee today. Always like, oh yeah, we'll get back to that at some point. You know, it's The Rock. He'll do what he wants when he wants. I'm just upset that he did some teases the past year and then nothing's happened of it yet. Like, to me, that's a little bit too slow of a burn. So I'm upset that he wasn't there. Okay, but Cena winning and people getting pissed off on how that all went down, I love it. When fans are pissed off, I'm happy. We got to see one of the top 5, maybe 3 show closing main events of all time in the triple threat match. Now, I'm not saying overall WrestleMania main event or matches, because there's been other great matches that weren't the show closer. I'm just talking about show closers when the pressure is on the most. Reigns, Punk, and Rollins and Heyman delivered, to me, one of the top 5, if not 3, of all time. And yeah, you could say it was a little lackluster night 1, but that match was awesome. Again, no surprise that Roman Reigns' last 4 main events at WrestleMania have all been really good, really intriguing. But, you know, again, was it a great WrestleMania by WrestleMania standards? Probably not. I would say it was average. It wasn't the worst. People start comparing it to WrestleMania 9, 11. Get out of here. There was way too many good things within the 2 nights that were positive for anybody to consider that. And maybe it's unfair to counter WrestleMania today versus the bad WrestleManias of the past, because you can have more good moments which mask the bad moments. But again, it wasn't a great WrestleMania, but it wasn't as bad as a lot of people are saying it. Again, it's funny how they complain, and then all of a sudden a Raw like last night happens, and then we're right back on track, and we got a new Dangerous Alliance type thing with Paul Heyman. Punk and Reigns could be teaming up here in the future, going against them. Cena, Orton, all these great things. And look, you just keep watching. I'm pissed. No Rock. He's going to keep lingering. He'll come back when he wants to. I've given up on it. When it happens, and then I'll get reinvested in it. But if it doesn't, I'll spend my time investing into this heel Cena character, which is pissing people off. And, of course, this new alliance, potential alliance with Punk and Reigns. And then just watching, like, I like watching shit hit the fan. like this whole Charlotte and Tiffany thing and the outrage with that. Oh, that match wasn't good. But people, that match wasn't good not because the way you think it wasn't good, because they were maybe mad at each other as a shoot, and there was like botches in the match and the pacing was off. I think they screwed up, like Stevie Richards said on one of his shows. It should have been a fight. It should have been a brawl. We should have thought they hated each other, not a technical wrestling match where they were trying to do reversals and stuff. And it's just little things like that now I'm more invested. I want to see this continue. I want to see Charlotte come out and get pissed at the fans and pissed at Tiffany. That, to me, reality in wrestling is the most intriguing stuff in wrestling. And there's so many things that have happened from Saturday to last night. I don't even know what else to bring up. Like, I might just pass it on to the next person. And then if you guys bring it up, I'll raise my hand. That's a good thing. When we have so much to talk about, you can't remember everything you want to talk about.
Absolutely. And I'm looking forward to hearing everybody's takes, and hopefully that reminds some of us what we wanted to bring up that we had forgotten about. It's going to be a great show. Thank you so much, Virtue. Song, I'm going to pass it over to you. Your thoughts on WrestleMania 41.
Yeah, just to pick up where Virtue left off, I thought it was a good WrestleMania. I enjoyed it. I do not put it as low as 9 or 11. I've seen every WrestleMania. I'm not putting it down there, but it's not among the greats either to me. I especially thought WrestleManias 39 and 40 were definitely way better, but still, I enjoyed WrestleMania 41. I didn't think there was a bad match on the card. As far as the standouts to me, Jacob Fatu versus LA Knight, the Fatal 4-Way was tremendous, but by far, and there was someone in the comments that said, and I agree, the MVPs of this WrestleMania are Bianca Belair, Rhea Ripley, it was CM Punk, Roman Reigns, Seth Rollins, Paul Heyman, and Io Sky. Those 7 right there, I thought stole the show. The triple threats were the best matches of the night. Absolutely loved them. And we had some good moments, some career-defining moments, such as Jey Uso getting the world championship, such as Tiffany Stratton defeating a big-time star like Charlotte Flair. So a lot of really cool, good moments. We got Becky Lynch's return. So yeah, it was definitely some good stuff as far as this WrestleMania goes. I did enjoy John Cena versus Cody Rhodes. Love that John Cena worked a more methodical pace because it really showed. We know how quick he can go when they do the 5 moves of doom and stuff, and many fans have coined it. But I like that he worked that psychology and worked the match differently as a heel. The only thing about that match was the finish. I personally think because Cody Rhodes was the guy to defeat Roman Reigns when no one else did in the last 4 years, I thought it should have taken everything under the sun for Cena to defeat Cody Rhodes. But instead, they did this weird thing where Cody, he just couldn't hit John Cena with the championship. Whereas if you go back and I think it was January when he faced Kevin Owens, when that referee was down, he had no problem throwing away, going against the rules and nailing Kevin Owens with the steel chair, and why he didn't do it here with the championship, especially when John Cena did more to him. So I don't understand with that. In terms of The Rock, they were so vague with it, and there was a lot of people saying Triple H isn't cooking with this WrestleMania, and I'm like, well, he tends to be a slow cooker, but usually the payoff is worth it. But I like to wait until it's all finished so that I can come to a full judgment. And having seen how it played out, I don't think The Rock was needed for the build-up. Or if they were going to do that, I just wish there would have been some storyline implication made where he says, I'm not going to be at WrestleMania, so that way we can keep the focus on Cena and Cody Rhodes, because that's where it was. And I guess he was on Pat McAfee and said that after Elimination Chamber he's not going to be a part of the build. And why they didn't just make that clear with just one line, Cena, when he said, like, you get nothing, you will not even get The Rock at WrestleMania, and I will not tell you why I joined The Rock. It's about me and Cody and you. Now you set the expectation that, okay, this is only about Cena and Cody. I felt leaving it linger that The Rock may show up by barely mentioning him, it was a distraction from what we really needed to be. Elsewise, I would have chose Cena in the NoDQ predictions lead. But I do think Cena winning is the right direction, and I'm glad that I'm loving his heel work, and I'm loving the champion. I think that's why I really enjoyed his heel promo on Monday Night Raw so much, because now it's like, all right, the focus is off Raw. Off Rock. We don't know when he's coming back, but now we can just focus on John Cena, the heel, just shoving it to the fans and stuff. So I got more detailed thoughts on my YouTube channel about the entire WrestleMania, but that kind of sums up what I thought. And it was great to see my all-time favorite Stone Cold Steve Austin, even if he crashed not once but twice. Hopefully that female fan is okay.
Yes, I'm glad somebody brought that up because that was an interesting moment for sure. So thank you so much, Song. I'm going to throw it over to Colin. Colin, your thoughts on WrestleMania 41, Night 1 and Night 2?
Let's give it up for Dirty Dom Mysterio. That kid stole the show to me night 2. That's that, that kid, it was great. Like he said in the interview, they're going to hate you so much, then they start to love you. And here we are. You know what I mean? That kid did great. Um, I was not happy with the returning Becky Lynch at the time because it's bad enough that you have your Intercontinental Champion for the women's side, the first Mania after that belt's been made, working a tag match. You know what I mean? Um, I'm not a fan of the flip flop championships, so her just to come back and then here we are 24 hours later and they're back on the same champions. I didn't like that. I loved that Jacob Fatu won that championship, and Haku was right over the rail to congratulate him. And who's going to stop Haku? You know what I mean? Like, no, yep. If I was that security guard, I'd be like, yeah, dog, do what you want. Uh, and I thought the mask was really cool, and it's by the same maker that made Bray Wyatt's mask. So that was, I'm a Wyatt guy, so that was really clutch. Um, I did not like the fact that Joe Henry was the mystery opponent for Randy Orton. It was a 3 minute and 10-second match. The entrances were on both sides were longer than that. I feel that WWE talent was robbed of an opportunity there. Then that's where I stand on that. They shouldn't. If they wanted the TNA champion on the card, they should have had a TNA championship defended at Stand and Deliver. As far as I'm concerned, the Royal Rumble is one thing. Bring them in, let them have some fun, this, that, and the other. But WrestleMania, you could have. So we'll get into it, but that's where you could have brought back Rusev instead of on Raw. You could have brought him back there because he's playing a heel character, and it would have gone way over a lot better than him beating up Tozawa and Otis, two jobbers. I liked the John Cena Cody Rhodes match until I heard that stupid ass song from Travis Scott and saw his stupid face with that stupid hardcore title and walked that sucked the wind out of that arena. That was a fart in church. That was just despicable. I cannot wait until this little douchebag is gone from WWE TV because he's not brought one good thing to the company besides stupid teenagers that think his little made in the basement music is good. Shout out to AEW fans. Made in the basement, living in the basement, doing it in there. But no, I hated it. I absolutely hated it. Cena winning, I'm here for it. I love this new heel character. I love that the music is the same, but there's no fruity pebble colors right now. He's just, black and white. I love that. Um, the women stole the show. I did enjoy the Charlotte and Tiffany match. I know it was kind of a botchamania a little bit, but I enjoyed it. Um, Paul Heyman doing Paul Heyman stuff. I mean, we saw that coming weeks ago when I took over the show. I brought it up, and so that was really no serious surprise. It was just like oh damn, they actually pulled the trigger. Sweet. All right, cool. You know what I mean? But great main event. It was good. It was a good Mania, but like Song said, 40 and 39 were better, in my opinion, just from the flow of the show, just different things like that. But overall, if I had to rate it, I'd give it like a 7.5 to an 8. So
Well put, Colin. We appreciate it very much. Again, thank you for all you did the past couple of weeks. Great job. And very patiently waiting over here, Dwayne, not the chairman of the board, but Dwayne Atkinson, he is here, and we are looking forward to hear what this Dwayne has to say for us. How did you like WrestleMania 41, night 1 and night 2, Dwayne?
Well, having to having to piggyback what I've heard tonight, this is going to be fun. However, to me, I'm going to put it like this. Night 1 and night 2 was like a crisscross for me. I thought night 1 was okay, but it wasn't good, but it wasn't bad, so to speak. I think I wasn't a fan of the first match of Jey Uso winning it. I didn't think the match carried the way it was. I felt like the Saturday Night Main Event was way better than this one. I like the Jacob Fatu match. With him winning it, Tiffany Stratton winning it. The main event was outstanding. But one thing that I noticed, I brought it before, one thing that I didn't see between some of these matches, there was no shock value in the wins. You know, take a look back when Cena won his first world title at, what was it, 22, 21? And, you know, he looked shocked and happy did it. These guys here, they won it. And it's like, you know, it's like they do this every day, so it's nothing new to them. But regardless of the fact is, I really enjoyed Tiffany Stratton's entrance. I thought that was really amazing, the way they had that set up and all with the Barbie house and all. I really enjoyed Ellie Knight's entrance as well. Probably, again, night 2, I thought was totally opposite. I thought it was great up until the very end. And I just really, it wasn't a bad match, but it just wasn't what I hyped up and expected it to be as well. Now, listen to what all you have, everybody's opinions and outtakes on. I'm going to have to go back and rewatch the match again, see if I can look at it through a different pair of eyes. But the fact is, I am glad Cena won it. We know it was going to happen eventually. Myself didn't think it was going to be this thing. I thought it was going to be quite later, but now that this new character is coming up with him, I'm really digging it. I really am. So I'm looking forward to see where things go with Braun Breaker and all those. I was really, really excited for that last night to see it. I was happy to see this new supposedly formation of the Dangerous Alliance. We're going to see if they piggyback it off the original one. You know, we should still see a few more people join, possibly a Becky Lynch or whoever we have. So I'm looking forward to see where this goes, man.
I think we're all very much looking forward to that song. Yes, you have something to add?
Yeah, I just wanted to say one thing, because when Colin brought up the lady stealing the show, it reminded me that it is a shame as a Bianca Belair fan to see that the undefeated streak for her main roster WrestleManias is over. I thought there could have been a lot of mileage left out of that, but still, much props to the ladies. They did their thing out there, and I think Bianca Belair at least still is, without a doubt, Miss WrestleMania. I don't know if there's been any female in WWE history that has put on the consistent level of high-quality matches back-to-back that she has since coming to the main roster. So I would have loved to seen Rhea Ripley and Bianca Belair next year at New Orleans and play up on the fact that the streak ended with Asuka and Undertaker. I thought that could have been big, but no doubt a Rhea Ripley and Bianca Belair match still will be great in the future.
Completely agree. I feel like when you've got multiple, like half a decade's worth of undefeated streak, you should do something with that. Especially since she earned her shot pretty fair and square, and then she had to fight 2 people for that title. Now, I do want to. I know, Aaron, you left your recap after WrestleMania, but do you have any other thoughts after simmering on that over the past day?
I stand by what I said. I think Virtue said it well. It was a average WrestleMania, not great, not bad, somewhere in the middle, maybe slightly above average. I think there was more good than bad on the show. And if you took the best 7 or 8 matches from WrestleMania and just had that as one show, it'd be a great WrestleMania. It's the fact that they had 14 matches and there were some things that were not as good. It brought it down a little bit. The Travis Scott ending, I think, brought the main event down, but I don't think it was a bad match by any means. I think that match was solid, and I think people calling it the worst match of all time are a little bit crazy for saying that. The ending was what it was, but I'm happy John Cena is the champion, and I think The Rock probably hurt the show a little bit. That's unfortunate. he did that interview with Pat McAfee, which I'll talk about a little bit. I think that something might be going on. Jonathan Coachman suspects that there may be some issues, and he may be right. The Rock coming in, apparently because ticket sales were low. I'm not sure if that was the case or not. I think they were selling fairly well. I mean, Elimination Chamber is not a big four event, and with the ticket prices, you're really pushing it, trying to get fans to spend these high ticket prices month after month for multiple stadium events. It's just a lot to ask for from fans. And I don't know if that's true or not, but The Rock comes in and then he says he doesn't want to do WrestleMania. He wants the spotlight on John Cena and Cody. Again, it seems suspicious to me because you would think The Rock would want to be there, especially when they broke more records. I mean, this was, according to the press release, a new record for WWE as far as being the highest grossing event in company history, setting new records for the company. Didn't The Rock always say, like, he wants to be part of history? He wants to be there for those records? Like, how hard would it have been for him to just show up and make a cameo appearance? Or he could have been in Travis Scott's role. Like, we all knew The Rock wasn't going to be around after WrestleMania, but it's WrestleMania. We expect the biggest names to show up for WrestleMania. And then if he goes away, that's fine. We wanted that moment with The Rock coming out there and being involved so you could at least close the storyline for now in a proper way rather than just have him show up at Elimination Chamber. And like you said, son, like, we didn't even hear anything. We keep wondering, okay, is he showing up next week? Is he showing up next week? Is he showing up at WrestleMania? And, people were expecting him to be there, even if it wasn't in a wrestling capacity. Like, he would just come out there and do a match. Beyond that, I enjoyed WrestleMania, but I do think the Raw After Mania was superior to any of those shows over WrestleMania weekend. And we'll definitely talk about that here in just a few minutes. We do have a lot of super chats, so I appreciate the super chats very much. Let's go ahead and get to those. I want to hear that roast of WrestleMania. Apparently, Fluffy, what's his name, was there. Michael sent in a $2 super chat, says, who would win in a fight, Paul Heyman or Fluffy? Did any of you hear that clip? I mean, Heyman
Yes.
said some interesting things. Any thoughts on that?
I just wanted to say Kill Tony's show is all about pushing the envelope, saying things that are going to offend people, hoping that they don't get offended. Honestly, praying, I'm maybe praying that they do get offended so that they can criticize them for being offended. So when you bring somebody on who's arguably the best with a microphone in his hand in the history of wrestling, and he's warned them, I can talk on the mic. Like, if you say something, like, I'll get you back. And Heyman did not hold back. And that was just like a 2-minute clip. I heard some transcripts of some stuff with like Nia and Charlotte and all this drama. For them not to have streamed that or televised it feels like a huge wasted opportunity. But I think they knew that this stuff was going to be super, I don't even want to say controversial, but super line pushing, that they just would rather keep it off of like the national spotlight.
I would say Heyman would win the fight. Dwayne, anything you would like to add?
I want to add to what Gina was saying. I think another reason they don't televise it is because it's for paying customers only. Probably the same reason you don't ever see them airing any of the Taker's One Dead Man shows as well. So that could possibly be what it is. But I mean, if it's called a roast, if you're going to get offensive to it, you don't need to be watching it anyway. Because trust me, I've seen a lot of celebrity roast, and I've seen a lot of stuff that probably should never be said or heard on live TV as well. But that's just the humor about it.
All right, we got Mr. Sunset Rider, who sent in a $5 super chat. Thank you for that. Appreciate it. Says, I feel like they cheaped out on the special entrances and pyro this year at WrestleMania. It didn't feel as grandiose. Do you guys agree with that? I thought the entrances were pretty good, but there were a few that I thought were not up to the WrestleMania standard. I mean, does anybody have a thought on that, Gino?
Yeah, so I was watching the first half of the Slammies, and they did Entrance of the Year, most of which of the candidates were from WrestleMania 40. And you had Seth being played down to the ring by the whole silly parade people. You had Cody with his wife, and you had Bailey being carried out like some Egyptian goddess. Like, we didn't really get any of that other than Tiffany's with the Barbie gimmick, which almost feels like they built the set just to have that entrance. Cody kind of did the same thing as he did last year, only his face mask went up, which the Iron Man-esque thing was pretty cool. I'm not gonna lie, but other than that, other than Joe Hendry's entrance, honestly, you can't really remember too many of the other entrances. Song.
Yeah, I would say in terms of entrances, I think aesthetically, Tiffany Stratton probably had the best entrance. I thought Cody's looked cool with the dirt bike and everything, but I thought they would have gone with something a lot more grandiose. So I did like the touch on the mask, basically opening up. CM Punk, though, I thought in terms of the opening video package with Kill Switch Engage, that was awesome. Going back to when he first debuted in WWE and then having Living Color there, that was pretty cool. But other than that, yeah, I can't really think of any big standout moments. Seth
Did they
Rollins
lower
was
those?
kind of
Did
cool.
they lower those LEDs for anybody else or just Roman Reigns?
That was good.
Because
I think it's just Roman.
Stuff.
the Samoan people, that was to me the best of the whole because of what he's done. And I couldn't remember if those showed things for everybody or if they lowered a little bit lower just for him so we could see all the Samoan wrestlers of the past. But I like that.
And only the other thing too, Seth Rollins I thought was cool. It kind of, my friend brought up a good point. It almost felt like the WrestleMania 25 entrance with Undertaker. He came out in black, lights went out, came back on, then he kind of like had Shawn Michaels when he had all white. So that was pretty cool. But yeah, there was not too many grandiose more than that, I think, this year.
All right. Jeremy brought this up. Could The Rock show up at SummerSlam? Well, you know what? Here's the thing. To quote Jeff Meacham, The Rock was brought into Elimination Chamber to boost ticket sales. SummerSlam is going to be the first 2-night SummerSlam. That's a huge risk. They're really pushing their luck with these stadium shows. As I mentioned earlier, what if those SummerSlam ticket sales are a little slow? Does that mean we get The Rock at SummerSlam and he's going to get another call? We'll see what happens. I would not rule it out if the tickets are not selling as much as they're hoping.
I will say, moving forward, I think whenever The Rock does show up, I think for the audience, they should make it clear whether he's going to be there or not to set realistic expectations for fans. So I do think they need to state that moving forward. If he inserts himself into a big angle, hey, just state right here, this is all we're getting or not. Or just make it part of the storyline. Even, like I said, even if Cena would have just simply said, you get nothing, and that includes The Rock at WrestleMania. Just little statements, just a little sentence like that, set realistic expectations.
Agreed.
John Cena, will he have his redemption? Caleb Jacobs sent in a $5 super chat. Thank you, Caleb. Says Cena's redemption should culminate with the IC title, Grand Slam, and 4 weeks of open challenges. And El Patron is the AAA champion, a possible return to WWE. I know Virtue would like Alberto coming back, right, Virtue?
Oh, just for the heat, yeah. But like John Cena, he's the WWE Undisputed Champion. Okay, there is no downgrading to his little U.S. title open challenge, Intercontinental title, just to make a Grand Slam. He's perfectly fine, killing wrestling, ruining wrestling, and taking that title. Well, obviously, there's going to be an end game with that title, but yeah, don't change a thing with what they're doing with that. Cena doesn't need to have any open challenges.
What if he wants to take all the titles and says, I'll win every male title in the company?
He would have said that already. Time's ticking. He would have already made a claim on that. That's not good. There's too many titles to do that with, Aaron.
Yeah, I think he would have done that a year or two ago if he was going to win the IC title. Like, he could have feuded with Fury over it or something like that. So, yeah, I don't see that happening. El Patron coming back. Yeah, I would be very interested in that just to see the internet's reaction to Alberto.
Whatever his demons are, a personal life, dude, he's still in great shape and he's going out and having great matches. I remember one time at an indie show, he tripped on something and people were making fun of him. But everything else I've seen, he still has it in the ring. But, he's got personal demons and people give no forgiveness and people are creeps once anything's exposed and you can't apologize. You can't be forgiven anymore. And that's the hate for Del Rio. But let's be honest, I think he can still work in a ring.
I would see him doing okay, but yeah, I don't think it's going to happen. I mean, they could have brought in Matt Riddle as the opponent for Randy Orton. They could have closed
That would've
out
been
that, closed out that storyline that never really had a resolution. They could have brought him in for one night only, just as a one-off, have him come in there and put over Randy Orton in a 15-minute match, and then maybe that could open the door for him to potentially come back full time. But, just as a one-off thing, Riddle would have been a cool option. I think fans would have enjoyed that as a surprise, even though Riddle's had his issues too. But the fact that they didn't do that, makes me think Del Rio coming back is probably not going to happen. But I'd be intrigued if it did happen. We got a couple more we got quite a few, so let me get to these. Might be the top of the hour by the time we get to whatever Gino's next topic is. Maybe some of these super chats will cover what he wanted to talk about. Psycho Jet Black sent in $2. Thank you, Psycho. Says, Gino, are you trying to invoke the Godfather? Godfather,
At
the
first,
movie?
that's what I would ask. The movie or the gentleman with the lady train, as we should say. I think he's going about the movie. Yeah, and I'm going to make you guys an offer you cannot refuse on the day of my daughter's wedding. Way in the future.
All right. Mr. Sunset Rider sent in a $5 super chat. Thank you for that. Says, I feel like they cheaped out. Oh, we did this one already.
Mhm.
My bad. Botch, as Noah
Botch.
would say. Ty Arts sent in a €2 super chat. Thank you for that. Says, is wrestling too predictable in WWE and AEW? That is. I mean, I think it's more predictable than unpredictable. And that was one of the things I liked about wrestling in the 90s, late 90s. It really had that anything can happen atmosphere. And today, they tend to follow their formula. And, the shows are predictable more often than not. But you know what? I missed half the matches at WrestleMania. So there you go. Make that of what you will. But I also think I outsmarted myself on some of those predictions. I mean, did you guys think WrestleMania was too predictable, Gino?
Well, having predicted, I believe Colin did as well, having predicted every match correctly on night one, you said it once, Aaron, you said it a few times actually, predictability isn't necessarily a bad thing. It's not. It doesn't make sense. Do you book it well? And I think that all plays into it. So if it's predictable, okay, do we need shock value just for the sake of shock value? I believe the name Vince Russo comes to mind when we hear that, and sometimes that's not always the best thing. So I think that predictability can work if done correctly.
Now, had I not made that stipulation for the triple threat main event and you got Rollins, I'm 99% confident you would not have chose Seth Rollins to win that match if you weren't tied to him. You could say you were. I just don't think you would have.
Can I just say, I was going back and forth. Do I want to pick one of the other two? Virtue's got a good point. Roman Reigns isn't going to lose 2 Manias in a row. If I pick somebody else and Seth wins, I still get the host. And then I also, if my person wins, I get to get that point in the predictions league. I had 2/3 chance. Steiner mathing it out. But I was just like, I just got to go with the guy that I'm riding it on.
Dude, and they dated the cover, the 2 of the 3 covers already for WWE 2K25. Absolutely crazy. They did
It's
that
funny
already.
because they put it at 25% sale, and that big 25% off is completely covering Heyman. You can't even see him. So I just think that's hilarious. WWE posted that on their Facebook, so it's funny that you mentioned that.
All right, let's get back to the super chats here. Mr. Tito is here. Mr. Tito sent in $2 and says, hey, Aaron, these new review hosts are great. He gives the thumbs up.
Thanks, Tito.
Twice people have super chatted $100 because of me. Twice. I want to see somebody else do that.
There you go.
Controversy creates cash, as they say.
Hey, and by the way, might as well mention it now. My plan going forward is for us 3, Colin, Gino, and myself, to do a rotation. So there's a different moderator every week.
All right, but does that mean that they can pick whoever they want as a panelist, or do you have to approve the panelist?
No, they can, and then, but just say I was going to be on and I didn't want to be on with somebody else. I could back off and not be on the show as a regular guest that week. Doesn't mean I would. Maybe I would make things interesting and be on a show with certain other people as well. Who knows? But
right.
yeah, the moderator each week makes the topics, picks the guests.
All right, that sounds like a good idea. Freshens things up a little bit, keeps it interesting.
And I just want to add to that real quick. Virtue, I had an easy time picking the topics because obviously, what else are we going to talk about? WrestleMania, Raw After Mania, and the Rock's Pat McAfee show thing. Colin, it was really difficult, I would imagine, for you to find things to talk about during the lackluster build. Virtue, I know how difficult that can be throughout the rest of the year especially when it's lackluster. You guys do a great job making this look easy. So thank you for that. You guys lead by example.
All right, let's get back to the super chats here. Psycho Jet Black sent in $2 and said, "Will we ever have squash matches on a PLE again?" Well, wasn't that what happened to Joe Hendry? I mean, it was basically a squash.
I would argue that getting potentially the biggest pop of the night and exposure in front of that's the most people he's ever wrestled in front of and will ever wrestle in front of. And it led to that amazing, like when he's staring right into the camera, doesn't peek over at Randy at all. Like when he knows, that was just a master class. And I got to give him his flowers for that.
Yeah.
That moment had me cracking up for like 2 to 3 minutes straight.
Mm-hmm.
Hardest I've laughed since the Sami Zayn and Bloodline stuff. So yeah, it's a good viral moment for him that everybody's seeing now.
Yeah, it had you feeling oozy.
Yeah.
All right, Psycho Jet Black brought up an interesting question here. So, should John Cena hold on to the title until December? I think so. I think he needs to hold it for a while until you have the right guy to beat him. Now, the question is, who is that person? When will the right time be? I mean, I'd like to see him go through, obviously, Randy Orton. He'll probably do a match with CM Punk at some point, probably a match with Roman Reigns at some point. Lots of opportunities.
What event did they have in December? Did they have a PLE or maybe a Saturday night main event?
Yeah. I mean, Survivor Series is November 29th in San Diego. That would be the last one of the year.
Yeah.
So probably Survivor Series is when I could see him losing. It's at Petco Park, so it's the outdoor ballpark where they're doing the show.
And they already advertised that. It feels really early to advertise a show in November. So I thought that was a little odd. So that caught me by surprise. So maybe that's something that we had to be paying attention to.
Yeah. I mean, I expect him to lose it at either SummerSlam, depending on who his opponent is, or he'll lose it at Survivor Series, lose it. I mean, I wouldn't mind him losing it sooner because if you wait till Survivor Series, then it's going to be obvious he's losing it. If he loses it at SummerSlam, it would be a little more unpredictable. It just depends on who he's facing and how many matches he gets through. Apparently, his schedule, he's going to be doing these PLEs. He's got Backlash coming up. He's booked for Money in the Bank. He's booked what's the one after Money in the Bank? I can't think of the one off the top of my head, but he's booked for like the next 3 shows coming up here. So, he's got plenty of matches and possibilities. Now, going back to Cody. Well, go ahead. What was that?
I believe the one after Money in the Bank's where they're in overseas, right? Was it Paris?
No, that's after SummerSlam.
Is it after SummerSlam?
Yeah.
Yeah, do the Clash and the Clash of the
I was thinking
Castle in Paris.
After that is when they have like 1 or 2 international PLEs as well.
Yeah, so he's got a lot of dates coming up.
I just wanted to touch on what you said, Aaron. If Cena's whole idea is to ruin wrestling, and by the way, the NoDQ review is here to save wrestling. Just wanted to throw that in there. If he holds the title until his last date, it might be obvious that he's winning, but if he's gonna ruin wrestling and take this title lineage with him, there's that theory that he could win the last match and take his ball and go home and say good
very
luck.
true. Very true. So yeah, I mean, I think you could make a really strong argument for him holding on to it until Survivor Series. Now back to Cody Rhodes. They were booing Cody at WrestleMania. Tiger sent in a €2 super chat, says, "These fans are trash, heartless bum. Why boo Cody? Virtue, why would they boo Cody?"
Cody looks like a heel. He does everything to be a baby face, but he just looks like a heel. And if there's a lot of, you would think at WrestleMania, it's all fans that kind of already know Cody. So it is weird that he would get booed. But if there were casuals there because it was Vegas, they might just look at him and say, yeah, he's a guy I'm going to boo. I know John Cena. I don't care if he says he's a bad guy we're going to cheer him and boo Cody. Cody just looks like the villain.
And The Rock did mention on the Pat McAfee show that he could see Cody being a great heel at some point. Son?
I was actually going to say in relation to your previous super chat, so I just looked it up. It looks like in July, Evolution 2 is what's going to be scheduled, and then after that, it'll be Saturday night's main event. So both of those are the big shows taking place in July in terms of the main roster before SummerSlam.
Okay, well, I don't think John Cena is going to be on Evolution 2, but he might be on Saturday night's main event.
Yeah.
Ty Arts sent in a €2 super chat, says, James Ellsworth versus Ryback. Who's worse and why? What is this, Psycho Jet Black here? We have to bring up Ryback. Ryback was way better than James Ellsworth. I mean, as much as people dislike Ryback, he had some momentum for a while. He was a cool character. James Ellsworth was, comedy. It was a comedy act. Yeah.
Remember, any man with two hands has a fighting chance. Wasn't that it was the Chinless Wonder? He gave some good TV, especially with AJ Styles, and I had a lot of fun watching Ellsworth on my television after his squash match. He just blew up, so I thought that was very fun. Colin?
Jericho's Chince McMahon. That's all I got to say. What are you looking at, Chince McMahon? Like that was the best James Ellsworth moment ever.
Amazing.
All right, well, The Rock's jock strap, and I'm not sure what the hell he's talking about here. Somebody's shirt.
Feels like he's trolling.
Who's he talking to, though?
Colin.
Oh. You have problems with AEW fans?
Yeah, most of them suck. Most of them stink. Most of them are just trash douchebags like you trolling. So thanks for the $2. Go play in traffic, and we'll catch you next time.
And Colin, it's not a pedo, and that shirt is awesome because it's a Virtue shirt. So
yes,
right? I got 2 kids. I got 2 kids. I'm great with them. I got nieces. I got nephews. You want to call me a pedo? Come say it to my fucking face. And sorry, Aaron, and I'll drop you on your ass. So
there we go.
He can suck eggs.
Right.
Yeah, the long way.
By the way, that is a great shirt. Pick it up over at NoDQ.com/merch, along with the ORM Original Review Moderator shirt. Hopefully, you get your shirt within a month if you order it on Teespring.
I'm waiting. I got the white. I'm waiting for the white version of the ORM shirt. I thought it was going to be here for today. Still haven't printed it yet.
Yeah, so hopefully they get their act together with that because we want to get these shirts in a timely fashion. All right, what is going on here? Psycho Jet Black sent in a $5 super chat. Says, "Hey Dwayne, jump, you should know that Chris Cross is not having anything today." As we stand there, totally crossed out. What the hell? What did you say?
It feels like song lyrics. I don't know.
It is. It's that
Chris
90s
Cross is
song.
a band from the 90s that used to wear their pants backwards and all, but
what prompted that comment though? What did you say?
I guess he's trying to say I'm old.
I think he's talking about the board of directors, Dwayne. Maybe.
Oh, not Dwayne on the panel, Dwayne Johnson. All right, I got totally confused here. All right,
Totally crossed out.
Ty Arts sent in a €2 super chat. Says Roman Reigns versus The Rock versus Cody Rhodes at WrestleMania 42. Thoughts? I like Virtue said. I can go without The Rock now, but if he shows up, I'm all for it. The Rock is entertaining, but WWE is going to be just fine without him. They don't need him. They got guys like Braun Breaker, and I think WrestleMania would probably have been a stronger show if they didn't bring back The Rock, because I feel like him not committing to the show hurt their build a little bit and kind of mess things up. But I'd be down for. I still want the singles match though. I think we can all agree we got to get a singles match. I would still love to see Rock versus Roman Reigns. At some point, and they could make it work. Like if they brought him back, they could heat it up again. They could find a way to make it work. All right, Psycho Jet Black sent in a $2 super chat. Thank you for that. Says, seriously, this was a 7 out of 10 WrestleMania, which is good. That's good.
Right.
I went, probably 7.5, but yeah, I agree with that. Good, solid WrestleMania. I was entertained for the most part. Wasn't my favorite, but I did enjoy it. And I think that's the general consensus here with WrestleMania. Psycho Jet Black also sent in a $5 super chat. Thank you, Psycho. Says, it's like The Rock just wants all the attention without wrestling a single match. When is this guy supposed to put over Roman Reigns? 2026? 2027? Great question here. I don't think he's doing it. I think he's probably done. Although, again, if he gets the call and the ticket sales are low, maybe he shows up. Maybe he miraculously makes an appearance at WrestleMania. But I'm not getting my hopes up that we're going to see it. And I think that, they missed the best part. The great ending to that Bloodline storyline would have been Rock versus Roman Reigns at WrestleMania to wrap it up. And I feel like it's pretty much over now. The Rock is the tribal chief, but he has no tribe. And, he's kind of on his own and everybody else is doing their own thing now. So I think the Bloodline's pretty much over. And Paul Heyman is now starting a new storyline. And I'm hyped for this because Paul Heyman is great. And I think he's got a lot of potential with this new group. And I'm looking forward to seeing where it goes. Anybody got a thought on that, or should I move to the next one?
It's got to be 1v1 if they're going to wrestle, to be honest. It's got to be 1v1, in my opinion.
Absolutely. Emmanuel sent in a $2 super chat, says, IMO, in my opinion, if The Rock came, he overshadowed John Cena's 17th championship. I don't think so. You can't outshine John Cena. I think The Rock would have enhanced it, but I don't think he would have outshined Cena. And it definitely would have made the ending a little bit more memorable. Hey, The Rock and John Cena there. Rock's there to celebrate John Cena's 17th championship. Building Nexus sent in a $5 super chat. Says, should The Rock come back and see the Cena story through to the end, even if he doesn't wrestle? Well, what does he do if he comes back other than wrestle? What can he do at this point? Anything?
He kind of did everything that he kind of needed to do if he had come back at WrestleMania, even though The Rock also shares the last Super Chatter's opinion that it would have overshadowed Cena. I know Virtue has said that on the review as well, that The Rock doesn't really want to overshadow Cena. The problem is they just didn't execute it well. That's the issue. I think that we're finding with that. And I don't see what The Rock could possibly do other than get mad at Roman and start building towards that. Because that's honestly, I don't even care about Rock versus Cody anymore. Just give me Rock versus Roman. Or if The Rock can eventually convince Cody to sell his soul and we get heel Cody to go on a legendary run like he was talking about on the Pat McAfee show.
Yeah. Son, what were you going to add?
I would say, how would you all feel if Rock shows up right after John Cena retires to continue the feud? I'm like, that would be something. But I agree. If Rock's only got a little left in the tank, him versus Cena's the priority. And how many more times are they going to keep beating Cody Rhodes to a bloody pulp and he doesn't get his revenge?
Yeah, good point. Colin?
I mean, he could still be around. Just The Rock can tell a story. We all know this. You know what I mean? And even just him being a bigger mouthpiece to fill in these cracks that are just kind of, thrown out in front of us, and we got to follow these little endless breadcrumb trails and to nothing. It's just, it'd make more sense, and it would keep more people interested in what's going on. Because yes, I'm interested in what's going on with Cena, but if Dwayne was there, I'd be much more into it. You know what I mean? It's Dwayne to me right now is a fluffer. Like he's just kind of keeping things going for the next guy to come along or whatever. Like, you know what I mean? Like it's just that's how I feel. He showed up for Elimination Chamber and that was it. I mean, think of last year. Think of last year rolling to WrestleMania. I know he had a match, but he was doing those promos on Twitter, those 20-minute promos just talking shit. And it worked. You know what I mean? It worked. Why couldn't he have done that this year? Why, if he knew he wasn't going to be there, he could have gave us that. And I think the payoff would have been so much more. And I personally don't feel that he would have outshined John Cena. It would have made more sense why Travis Scott was there. It would have made more sense. It would have filled in a lot of cracks for a lot of things. So he
Yeah.
could have done things way, way, way different. And sorry, Dwayne, but you fumbled, bro. You fumbled big time.
Yeah.
All right, we got Song and then Virtue.
All right.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
was gonna say with what Colin said. Even going to John Cena, they waited 2 weeks before he finally showed up. I was wondering, for the weeks that they couldn't be there, why did they not? Once they go behind backstage, why didn't they just do a sit down interview that they could break into like 2 parts and spread it out each week to build anticipation? Like, I was wondering, where's that type of stuff?
Here's a problem. Rock's committed too many Disney and PG and rated G movies, so he's keeping that final boss. Think about it. Raw on Netflix, all these press conferences, it's Dwayne Johnson. It's the good, I grew up in this business. It's all good, like normal, like when you would talk when you're talking to somebody interviewing you, for a movie. He's just not the final boss. Other than the Elimination Chamber thing, that's really the only final boss we've seen in a long time. It's like he's purposely not trying to be that right now.
Right.
It's like PR. It's like PR for him.
Yeah.
And I will say, hopefully that changes when he does that movie with Martin Scorsese about the Hawaiian mob boss, where that's very much non-PG. And he talked about that on the show, and we maybe could see him be like, that won't hurt like the box office of that movie theoretically. But absolutely right. He's doing a lot of the PG stuff. He's trying to be family friendly. And at the end of the day, just like with Cena, just like with Rock, we know that they're like good guys. Like, we know that, like, so they can play bad all they want, and it's fun to see. But like, and The Rock even talked about it today. Cena's a good guy. He's just telling the truth. So that's kind of where it kind of comes down to.
Well, maybe for John Cena's redemption, Cena drops the title, Rock shows up, he's pissed off. Maybe The Rock shows up to help Cena and it backfires. Cena drops the title and Rock turns against him. And then that's how Cena goes back to being a babyface for the end. And then The Rock could say, well, Cena didn't get the job done. Maybe Cena loses it back to Cody. Rock is furious, takes out Cena. Cena goes back to babyface. And then Rock goes after Cody, and we finally get Rock versus Cody. So they could always find something to come up with to go back to that. Like The Rock said, they can always revisit that Cody Soul storyline when they want to. And maybe we get the heel Cody, because The Rock did tease that we might see that at some point. But before we get to Raw, we got an AEW topic here. Sorry, Virtue. Roger B sent in $2. He wants to know if they should book Mercedes Moné versus Tony Storm and Will Ospreay versus Jon Moxley at All In. I think they will. I mean, I definitely expect those to be the matches. And if you're not a Mercedes fan, I mean, you better get used to her winning all the championships, because I think that's going to happen. I know Colin isn't amused by that, but I'm mentally prepared for that. And I think Will Ospreay will beat Jon Moxley. That's my take on that.
I was just say Mercedes versus Athena on the last Dynamite was good stuff.
Yeah, it was. I mean, Dynamite was great. Everything was great this week. I mean, I really, we always complain. Not always, but we tend to complain. Triple H doesn't like the dirt sheets and the wrestling sites that criticize everything. But I enjoyed pretty much everything I saw on TV this past week, including NXT. Like, I enjoyed everything I watched, and I thought Raw was one of the best shows they put out in many years. I mean, I really couldn't find anything to complain about that episode of Raw. So on that note, I'll throw it over to you, Gino. What do we got for our next topic here?
Yeah, I just wanted to touch one more thing on that to keep everybody happy there. If they don't pull the trigger on Ospreay, then I honestly don't even want to hear about it again, to be honest with you. So with that said, guys, we got WrestleMania 41 out of the way. We could have gone on and on and on and on and on about that. But right as the press conference, right after WrestleMania Night 2 happened, Triple H was handed the sheets and the script and everything that they need to get into for a Monday Night Raw. You'll hear a lot of people online talking about it, whether there's controversy with The Rock and Triple H and a power struggle or whatever you want to call it. This episode of Monday Night Raw, we've been talking about it for weeks. Raw After Mania has been lackluster, and this episode of Raw felt like a Triple H masterclass in booking and creative. It went to, I believe it went all the way to 11 o'clock. That's the longest show that they've had in quite a while. And it felt short. Like, it felt shorter than all those. And that's what happens when you have good narratives, things that make people happy, whether we want to see it or not. It makes us excited. And that's how you do good television style storytelling, which I think was the big problem with the build to WrestleMania, is these threads that you're setting up didn't work. So enough about the bad. Let's go to what I think unanimously is considered one of the best Raw After Manias of all time. And I want to throw it straight to Dwayne. Dwayne, how did you feel about Raw last night? What did you like? Did you dislike anything? And I'm looking forward to hear what everybody has to say about this.
I thought it was phenomenal. From the very beginning, opening monologue to John Cena coming out and giving that promo, probably one of the best promos he's done as a heel as of now. I really enjoyed seeing that Rusev is back. I was really thrilled to see Stephanie Vaquer show up, not only show up and have a promo with EO, but she also had a match with her as well. I was bummed. This is one thing I hate about wrestling. You have a match that is so good, great, and you're fully invested into it just to have it end in a run-in interference by Roxanne. But I get why they did it. I was wondering for the longest time when we were going to get her back on Raw, or is she just going to be demoted back to NXT? I guess after tonight we'll know that answer probably, but it was great seeing her and Julia showing up as well. My thing is, what are they doing with Rusev? Is he going to be like the heater, the muscle man for New Day now or something, or is that just a one-shot walk-in? Because I sure didn't want to see him and Otis have a feud. But other than that, I was very, very loved that match with Dominic and Penta. Fantastic match, fantastic ending. I like to see the fact that we got JD McDonough back as well. We'll see where this goes as far as the Judgment Day goes. Are they going to coexist, or are we going to wait until somebody turns on one or the other? It's going to implode from the inside out one way or another. But, other than that, I got no complaints whatsoever about any segment, any promo, how the show ended. To me, I'm going full 10 out of 10 on this one.
All right. Thank you so much, Dwayne. If you have any other things to add as the others are speaking, you know the deal. We just raise our hand and we'll move forward. We're going to go in reverse order of the first topic. So we're going to throw it over to Colin, the Cleaver. What do you got for us, Colin? What are your thoughts on Raw After Mania?
Very well done. Was a little confused on why Rusev had to come back and work with, Otis and uh, Zawa. Didn't really make a lot of sense to me. He's more high profile than that to me. Becky Lynch turning on Valkyria and then dropping the tag belts 24 hours later. Again, hated that. But with Becky turning heel, I think she's probably going to be the next to join the Paul Heyman regime with her husband Seth. And as we saw at the end of Raw, Braun Breaker, which was so well done. Braun holding Roman's head, like you watch this dude get stomped out, and then you're next. Like just it was old school. It was dope. If you rewind back to October of 2023, you had Paul Heyman and Braun Breaker together on NXT, so it's been written on the wall for a little bit. Just wasn't fully expecting that. And it was just very well done. Pat McAfee getting choked out by Gunther, and by sticking up for Michael Cole. Obviously, we're looking at Gunther and McAfee down the line. Good selling by both of them, I guess. That jumping forearm looked pretty dope from McAfee, though. The kid still got it. Um, and just overall, very, very, very well done. I was hoping for a little bit more of a surprise, but I was excited to see Valkyrie pop up. Rusev was good to see back. And just again, little tweaks could have made it a little bit better. But definitely one of the best SmackDown or Raw After Manias there's been in quite a few years. So I hope that they can keep this momentum going, though. I know we talked last review about wrestling kind of going on a little bit of a decline, especially, WWE wise. We're rolling here after Mania. So I'm really hoping they can keep this going. Um, Out of besides just the few key storylines like Becky and Lyra and Roman and Seth and all that, the Heyman alliance and stuff. Like I'm hoping they do well. Raw was great. I'm excited to see what they can pull off on SmackDown this week. Um, because I feel Raw set the bar real high. So I'm excited to see what the guys and gals do on NXT with their fallout too.
Great points, Colin. All right. Song. Looking forward to hearing you cook about Monday Night Raw and where we might be going in this new season of WWE, as WrestleMania is the bookend of last season, if you will.
Yeah, well, first I would say, so it was like a 3-hour show, and I felt that this is what you should do on a 3-hour show. One of my biggest things about often with Raw, and now you're seeing it on SmackDown, how many times for example, we'll have two wrestlers come out, wrestle a long match, go to commercial break, then two of their partners come on out, and then it turns into a tag team match, and then it goes on for another 2 commercial breaks, and then from there, it's one of these things where it's like, you just had a whole hour of television go by, and you could have invested into so many other storylines, which is what they did here, particularly with the women. Having Stephanie and Io go at it was great to introduce her to the mainstream audience that might not be aware of her, and then how they interject some of today's upcoming superstars, like Julia, Roxanne, and then bring in Rhea Ripley. I thought that was good, showcasing that her and Io are not done yet. I really enjoyed the opening promo. Like I said earlier, is that it was great to just finally enjoy John Cena as a heel, to not have to wonder, okay, is he gonna state why he joined The Rock and all that. With that out the way, I thought it was great. I love the way he just completely got to the audience when he said, "You all owe me an apology," and everyone's chanting, "We are sorry," and Cena's like, "That's right, you all are sorry because it's pathetic," and then they started chanting "a-hole." That power that Cena had over that audience was fantastic. And then the way Randy Orton came in and did the RKO, and just to let you know, I was done with the Randy Orton and John Cena matches. I thought, like, okay, it's the same thing over and over. In 2010, I was like, how about we get a face Cena or a heel Cena and a face Randy Orton? And now we're getting it, and I'm like, yes, let's go. But also at the same time, I thought Randy Orton, some of his best character work has been since 2020 started, these last 5 years. So I'm very hyped to see him and Randy Orton, and I'm hyped to see him and John Cena. Just so many nice feuds that he can go back and basically rediscover, but it's got a different twist now because of Cena being the heel. So I'm looking forward to that. Some of the other things that we got on here, I'm looking forward to the new Paul Heyman stable. So we're getting like a modern day Dangerous Alliance. So I think Braun Breaker being with him is awesome. Braun Breaker working with CM Punk, Roman Reigns, Seth Rollins. He's going to be learning from some of the best that there's been in the last decade plus now. And I think ultimately, if the plan is to get Braun Breaker to that next level, fantastic. The 24-hour title reign for Lyra and Becky, I'm not sure what that was about. They could have easily had it just be Bayley still in that match, and then maybe Bayley turned her back on Lyra and Becky comes on out, and there you could have done it at WrestleMania. So yeah, I'm glad to see Rusev back, and I understand that with Randy Orton, they probably didn't want him. Yeah, they probably didn't want him to lose, so that's why they brought Joe Hendry in there. But I'm hoping to see some new stuff, good stuff from Rusev. So everything just flowed about the show. I like that they're adding something new to Gunther's character, and we might see Pat McAfee get back in the ring. So just every single thing had purpose on the show, and this is where I think it's a good example that 3 hours can be done correctly, and they utilized everything. And there's a lot to look forward to the future, and I think that's the most important about, is that this show really put in perspective that they are building towards the future, and I'm looking forward to it. And yeah, like Colin said, hopefully they can maintain the momentum.
Aaron?
I just wanted to mention this because I saw the comment from Charlie on X. Who actually thought, when they saw the Heyman ending with Braun Breaker and Seth Rollins, who actually thought that WWE was copying the Don Callis family? Come on now. That's the most ridiculous thing I've ever seen on X, and that's
thought they
really
were going back
something.
to the history book with WCW back in the day with the Dangerous Alliance.
I think that's what pretty much anybody that's actually watched wrestling and isn't trolling thought. But yeah, I just wanted to say how ridiculous that is that people would even compare that to Don Callis. I mean, come on now.
That's some hot take right there.
Best Monday Night Raw after WrestleMania we've seen in a long time.
Mm-hmm.
If that's how they want to look at it, the fact of the matter is they can say that they stole it from WCW because Dangerous Alliance was around first, before the Don Callis family was.
Yeah,
absolutely. So, Song, you mentioned Women's Evolution 2 coming up down the line, which makes sense why they're featuring a lot of their women on the main roster now, because WWE's women roster, NXT, is stacked. You mentioned the RKO thing. Cena's like, no one with ruthless aggression like me. I almost expected Randy's music to hit, but boy, was that even better to have him repeat what he did to Hendry, show up behind him like a snake in the grass. Virtue, let's throw it over to you. I know that you thought maybe it was a little underwhelming at first. How do you feel that Raw ended up overall? What are your thoughts? Love to hear it.
Well, everybody's like building towards the future, but yet here we are now with a John Cena and Randy Orton feud. Becky Lynch, top female heel. Roman Reigns and CM Punk potential alliance because Paul Heyman is now with Seth Rollins and Braun Breaker. So, like Big G would say, we got to move on and get to the future. Yet it's always the names that have been around that need to be strong. And it makes sense because now you can interject Braun Breaker in with Rollins and Heyman and give Breaker that main event experience against potential players like Roman and Punk. But the star of the show, and I do want to throw a good mention out, the Sami Zayn and Jey Uso segment was pretty good, and Jimmy came out. Nobody talked about that. Jay's still getting a lot of heat, being world champion, winning the Royal Rumble. That was authentic. That stuff with Zayn and Jay and Jimmy goes back to the Bloodline stuff over the years. I mean, nobody can be more prouder than Roman Reigns. He's sitting there getting speared by Braun Breaker, curb stomped by Seth Rollins, but you know he's loving what everybody else is doing that was tied to him while he was dominant those last 4 or 5 years. But the star of the show was Gunther because he's lost the last 2 WrestleMania, so that's like his kryptonite. But remember, I always said they need to make Gunther, they just need to have him do something, not just have a match and win matches. And this something was exactly what he needed. If you remember way, way back, Aaron, the stale Roman Reigns that Vince McMahon pushed and nobody liked. Remember, he had a segment where it was somewhere around a Survivor Series or somewhere, he went nuts and started beating up everyone around the ring. You remember that back in the day? And it showed some edge that Roman had. And it took a while for them to really fully go with that. But this is like Gunther just coming out and attacking the announcers. And it's a build, too, because look what McAfee's always – like you always see Gunther looking at him when McAfee was yeeting and stuff like that. And Gunther lost again at WrestleMania, a title to an underdog, like they say. This is what a heel like him needs now to go forward and to be strong again and to be maybe even better than he was. You could say that title reign was stagnant. Now Gunther has, to me, more appeal as a heel without the title just because what he did. Maybe we'll get a match with him and McAfee. McAfee can work once in a while. Gunther stole the show. And, of course, I do like this. I'm intrigued by Reigns and Punk and their alliance, especially going against Heyman. They both have stakes and that's why it was a good Raw. To me, I'm not going to say, it was immediately the best Raw ever, Raw After Mania, but it was definitely one we haven't had for a very long time. It had that Raw After Mania feel again, and established now every year we can look forward to Raw After Mania being good. And I hope SmackDown's kind of similar coming up Friday because we're going to have other players we haven't seen yet, like Jacob Fatu, another guy. Roman was indirectly involved with him, but he was still in the bad bloodline, feuded against the good bloodline. It's cool to see stars develop because they got the right exposure. And this goes back all the way to 2020 during the pandemic. Who would have thought in that cage match of Jay and Roman, we would have fast forwarded 5 years and look at all these new players directly resulted from top stars working with them. And you could say, well, it's because Vince McMahon's not there. It's Triple H. Well, here we are. Main players are still all involved, heavily involved, like Vince McMahon would always want it. But guess what? A lot of new faces or rising stars up to that next level are being integrated into working with these top stars. That's what I took away from this Raw After Mania.
Wonderful. Great job. Does anybody else have anything to add there about Raw and what anybody else has said?
I mean, I guess
All
I'll
right.
go now.
Yeah, Aaron, up to you.
Yeah, to add on to what Virtue said, first of all, about Gunther, that was a great segment to get his heat back. I loved it. I thought it was very well done. And like Virtue said, we can possibly get Pat McAfee versus Gunther, and maybe Gunther beats the shit out of him, and Pat McAfee needs some help. That's when you bring back Bill Goldberg, and you could set up Gunther versus Bill Goldberg. Whether that's a match people want to see or not, I mean, I'd be fine with it. I think Gunther will probably beat Bill Goldberg and retire him, as he should. But yeah, I think this is probably setting up Goldberg's comeback. And I really liked what happened with Gunther on Raw, made him look strong. And it kind of felt like an Attitude Era segment with the choking out of the announcers. Kind of reminded me of when Taz was feuding with Jim Ross and Jerry Lawler, like in 2000. Similar vibes. Colin, you want to add something to that?
I just love that there was more security holding back the boys from the Pat McAfee show than there were trying to get Gunther off of Pat McAfee. I just thought that was great. And shout out to the boys because they gave it hell. They were doing everything. I was watching the show earlier, and one of the guys threw up because he was just so, into it. And yeah, it was just a very well done segment. So I will agree with Virtue and Aaron on that one a lot.
Yeah, I thought the security
It's
being
funny that
bogus,
you mentioned
keeping
that,
them from
Colin.
protecting Pat.
Yeah, and it's funny that that's mentioned because I was like, who are these scrubs that look like they jumped the barricade and whatever? I didn't realize it was McAfee's guys. And then The Rock addressed that a little bit on the show. Like he said he liked that his boys jumped the barricade because Pat was like, why is your security holding back them when I'm getting choked out? And the way I took it is you can't just have people jumping the barricade. That sets a very bad precedent, whether you low Pat or you don't. So the WWE's main security job, because like The Rock said, it's the WWE. Anything can happen. You might get choked out as a commentator, but you can't have people jumping the barricade. Their security is going to take that way more seriously than any wrestler and commentator personality that you've got going on. So it made sense to me because, I mean, I doubt that the security guards know all those guys. So we're just going to hold these guys back from doing something crazy. And it was a heck of a segment. And it was, I don't know if I had a commercial, so I don't know if they played his music before he walked out or he just walked out. I don't know how that worked. But when he came back from commercial and Gunther's just right in their face, I'm like, somebody's going to get hurt. And I've been saying for a while, this is the Gunther we need, that Brock Lesnar type. When you see him, people are getting hurt. Your favorite people are getting hurt. And I loved it. It was great. And Pat sold it like $1 million. Dwayne?
Also, to add on to it, I think the possible reason they're throwing Gunther with Pat McAfee now is it's getting around that time where football season's about to start up. So just going to have a match to where Gunther beats the crap out of him and sends him off the air for a while so he can go do his ESPN job as well. So,
Absolutely.
All right, thank you for that. All right. We got a couple of super chats here, and we did talk about Gunther. And then as far as Paul Heyman's new faction goes, I would like to see some more people added to it. Colin, I believe you mentioned Becky Lynch possibly being added to the group. What about Karrion Kross? People in the chat room were talking about Kross. That's something he could do. Get him there in the group, this new dangerous alliance. And then Building Nexus sent in a $2 super chat, says, will Heyman's group overshadow John Cena as the top heels? I hope they do. And the reason being is that John Cena will not be on every single week. I'd like to see the guys that are there every week stealing the show. And like Virtue said, with Roman Reigns, that storyline was so successful, it made all these new stars. I hope Paul Heyman's group can do the same thing. Braun Breaker, Karrion Kross, whoever else they bring into the group. Oh, maybe Virtue doesn't like that take. He's gone again. But nonetheless, you get my idea here that you have this group so successful that it will make new stars, kind of like a new Evolution or a new Bloodline where several people benefit and are big stars coming out of this group. So, yeah, I hope they do overshine John Cena. Go ahead, Gino.
Yeah, another name that I just literally cannot wait until he comes back. I thought he would be great for that group, but he's got a really bad history with Seth, and that's Bronson Reed. Now, do you want a bunch of Brons and Bronsons in the same group? But Bronson Reed is one of those guys who's injured on the sideline because of the War Games match that maybe he can let bygones be bygones with Seth and bring him in because Seth personally knows how destructive he can be. And that could just be like the toughest guys and Seth in the group. And it's just going to be the possibilities are endless. You could elevate those two guys. I don't know what type of like old timer you could kind of get to fill that Ric Flair spot because obviously Seth has got the Triple H spot now. But I'm really looking forward to the ride that the full timers are taking us on.
All right, thank you for that. And
Question, you guys interested seeing Becky join the group, be like the Medusa in the group? Because I'm curious to see how Triple H books her as a heel compared to when Vince was booking her as a heel.
yeah, I mean, I'd
Go
like
ahead,
to
Aaron.
see her and Seth. You know, I don't think they've actually been like on screen paired up. Like I think they tagged in 2019.
Yeah, they
like
were for a while as baby faces.
Yeah, but as heels, I think it'd be really entertaining. And I'm not surprised at all that she turned, considering Rollins turned. You know, I figured they both turn at the same time because everybody knows they're married. And then, you know, Becky's, you know, a baby face while Rollins is a heel. You know, I think it's better for them to both be in the same position as characters at the same time.
And I would say they definitely need a woman superstar in there because every single group, except for the Bloodline, has a female superstar or two in their group, in their faction, except for Legado del Fantasma as well. But like that gives you the opportunity to then feud with a babyface Judgment Day, to feud with an LWO, to feud with these other people because you've got, you know, even not necessarily numbers, but you can put your woman against theirs. You got your guys against each other. I think that just allows for more possibilities, and that's what this is about, is what the possibilities are and how exciting that can be. Aaron?
Well said. We got some more super chats here. This guy Experience sent in $2. Thank you for that. Says WWE trying to make me a Becky fan. Heel Becky rules. I just hope she doesn't do the same gimmick where she's wearing all the over-the-top clothes. Same thing with Seth Rollins. I think maybe now it's a good time to change it up a little bit and do something different with them. But yeah, I think it was needed for her. They have so many more women coming in now, and Becky Lynch can be the heel. Rhea Ripley is the top baby face. You got Io Sky as the top baby face. So yeah, I think it was the right decision to turn Becky heel for sure. All right, Oofman sent in a $5 super chat. Shout out to Oof. Hope you're doing well. Oof says, Pat sold it well last night, yet looked like nothing happened on the show with The Rock today. What did you guys think about that? I liked it, but part of me also thought like he should have been like hospitalized or something. But you know, he was okay. He's a tough guy though, so I can buy him recovering better than like a Michael Cole. Gino, what do you think?
Yeah, so I mean, he obviously was able to kind of walk off on his own power. We didn't see him stretch it off. He did mention he went to a local medical facility. Throat injuries are difficult. You know, losing your oxygen, you can get that back. He did like show us on the show that like when I'm talking, like you hear the rasp, like you hear that it was affecting me. But he did make a point. It's like, you think you're going to attack me and I'm not going to be able to come do my job? You're going to have to hit me way harder than that. So he kind of played into that. Like, he's not going to be afraid. He's not going to let Gunther get what he wants and stop him from doing his show or stop him from coming back to commentary next week. So he did sell it. I just think that what is it going to look like? Is it a neck brace? Is it like still a red neck? Like, eventually after some sleep and stuff, you'll get the color back in your face and you'll be able to kind of do that show. So Oofman, we love you here, but I do think that he sold it well. Anybody else?
All right.
All right, Aaron?
Yes. There's no kayfabe anymore. They go right as the show's over. They go off script and talk their regular stuff and how they did stuff. So,
especially The Rock.
Very
He
true.
loves to do that on these press conferences.
Yep.
This guy Experience sent in a $2 super chat. So this feels like maybe WCW with the new blood. Should WWE book an old guard versus new guard match?
No.
Yeah, I agree with that.
Just keep it like it is. You can have veterans like Reigns and Punk together, you know, that kind of stuff. But don't make it like old guard, new guard. You don't have to do anything like that. Don't date anybody.
Yeah, I agree with that.
Very well said.
I'm with you on that one. Psycho Jet Black sent in a $2 super chat. Says, seriously, why was Curtis Axel a Paul Heyman guy? Good question. I mean, I don't know what the deal was with Curtis Axel. Like he was all right, but he just didn't have that personality that his dad had. Like sometimes they just don't have it. Sometimes they do, sometimes they don't. And maybe they thought with Paul Heyman's guidance, you know, Paul Heyman could make anything good, but that clearly wasn't the case.
He was just a B team player.
Yeah, there you go. Not even sure
I
if he
will
was
say
B-team.
the idea of being a Paul Heyman guy isn't that it's Paul picks him. So in kayfabe or reality, if Paul picked Curtis to be the next guy and he didn't pan out, that's just he's a Paul Heyman guy that just didn't end up reaching the heights that the big Paul Heyman guy names are known for. That's
Yeah.
okay.
True.
All right, we got one here from Psycho Jet Black. Thank you for that. He says, when will Bronson Reed, Braun Breaker, and Braun Strowman form a faction where they worship Charles Bronson? Does anybody here know who Charles Bronson is? He's an actor,
Yeah.
right?
He did all the Death Wish movies.
Oh yeah, like the 70s guy.
Yeah.
Just why? Because of Bronson? I mean, I only see Bronson in one of those wrestlers' names, and that's Bronson Reed, so I don't get it.
Yeah, I mean that you're really
Bronson also, I think so.
You're really dating yourself, Psycho Jet Black, with that one. To mention Charles Bronson, that's way back. I mean, that's before my time. Building Nexus sent in a $2 super chat. Thank you, Building Nexus. Says maybe John Cena could join the new Dangerous Alliance. Now, at this point, I liked the idea initially, like of Rollins and Cena, but now what they're doing with Braun Breaker and Cena seems to be a loner doing his own thing. I mean, they could, but do we need it at this point, or would we rather see some other guys like Karrion and Cross or some other guys that have a lot of potential being part of the group? I mean, what are we thinking
keep
at
the
this
stories
point?
separate. The more separate, interesting stories we got going on, the better WWE will be all around.
Keep Cena like he is, and you don't have The Rock tied to him. None of that's happening, but Cena's sole focus is against the fans. Keep riding that way. Just keep telling them that they get nothing, they deserve nothing.
It's
He's
nice that you
basically
mentioned
done
that.
everything. You know, I've always liked the wrestler doing that to the fans over and over again. He's basically done everything other than call marks. So the Cena thing is fine with me.
And it's nice that you mentioned that, because the whole Seth faction thing is he's like for the fans. He's like, these guys are part-timers. They're not showing up. So having Cena be in there would be like almost a clash of ideology, even though they're all both heels. So it was a very good point, Virtue.
All right, Oofman sent in a $5 super chat. So we were talking about this a few moments ago about how everything is not. There's no more kayfabe, you know. So Oofman brought this up. What's everyone's thoughts on this new show, WWE Unreal, where they're going to be showing us behind the scenes stuff and, you know, breaking kayfabe throughout the show? We've seen some screenshots of it. They even had a whiteboard up with some of their proposed matches for WrestleMania, and you know, they're using all the insider terms. Jim Cornette probably doesn't like this. Do you guys think they're doing too much of you know, showing us the inner workings of the business? Are you guys fans of this, or do you want to see this kind of stuff? Anybody have a take on it?
Song.
Yeah, go ahead. Or Colin?
It doesn't bother me much, just because I know we've heard what others have said in the interviews and everything, and for me it's kind of just like seeing how the wrestlers and everyone, how they produce in terms of making it about the characters and the stories, like when I watch behind the scene interviews with movies. So it doesn't really bother me that much. But in terms of this show, I think a lot of us agree, since Triple H taking over, the shows have definitely been a lot better, making more sense. If they were going to do something like this, I'd be honest, I'd be more interested in seeing what went on in the writers' room many years ago. I like what went on in the writers' room when they did The Fiend versus Seth Rollins for Hell in a Cell. What went on in the writers' room when they did Goldberg defeating The Fiend? What went on in the writers' room when they decided John Cena is going to defeat the Nexus? Like, I'd rather see this show during some of the most controversial decisions WWE has made, so we can see what went on behind the scenes on that. Like, I think that's where I would think it would be more entertaining, honestly. But I'm interested to see what goes into as far as like how they do it for today's stuff. But yeah, I think that's where the real drama would have came in, to show some of the most controversial moments in WWE history.
It doesn't matter. They do it because 25 years ago or more, they started Tough Enough, Beyond the Mat. They've been doing it for a very long time.
Yeah, and you don't have to watch these shows if you don't want to know what's going on. You don't have to watch it. The only time I have an issue is when they blatantly do it on television, because when you're watching the show, You know, it's like the same thing if you're watching a movie and all of a sudden in the movie they break character and say, oh, by the way, what you're watching isn't real. That I don't like. But if you buy it back in the day, I mean, this is from a long time ago, but you buy a DVD back in the day and they'd have like the commentaries and they'd have like the little featurettes about the making of the movie. And if you want to know the behind the scenes stuff, you can watch it on that same DVD. So, you know, you have Peacock, you want to watch WrestleMania, then afterwards you want to know like what happened behind the scenes. They have a behind the scenes, you know, documentary or whatever. I think that's cool. I like that. So I'm all for the show. I just don't think they should do all these moments on television. Like I don't like when they show the clips during Raw of the documentary where they say Rock's like saying, yeah, so we had the pivot, you know, for WrestleMania. I didn't like them showing that clip during Raw. I wouldn't have done that personally. Beyond that, I'm cool with it.
Colin?
I was just gonna say I'm down for it. I've always liked the the 365s and the ride-alongs, and I mean honestly they broke all that kayfabe years and years and years ago with social media. Then you give us shows like Total Divas and Tough Enough and this, that, and the other. So it's just another level of that. And if you really like, love something or truly like something, a lot of the passion, you want to know all the elements of it. So it's just like, to me, this is just like a chef doing a private video in the back, breaking down recipes and showing how he goes about his day doing shit. Like, you know what I mean? So I'm interested in this. It should hopefully be good, and hopefully they do it in a way that it doesn't just like completely ruin every little thing, if that makes sense. Keep
Absolutely.
some stuff secret or hidden or whatever, just not everything out in the open. But I'm excited to see how it turns out.
Yep. Song?
Yeah, and I would say it is cool to see, if there's a wrestler that plays it this way on TV, and then when you see them behind the scenes, interesting to see like, okay, this is how far removed they may be or may be for their character, whether it's not far removed or removed, to see what they channel to become that character. I think it always is interesting, and I will say, just behind the scenes in general for professional wrestling, it always ultimately, for me as a longtime fan, just gives me even much more respect for what these men and women do in the business, because it now really just goes to show you just how much they put into their craft.
Okay, so you guys mentioned, right, Aaron, you're like, you don't have to watch this. And I don't think that any casuals are going to watch that. I think it's just going to be for the hardcore of the hardcorest. And I think Triple H is doing this to show how difficult it is in creative, right? Because he's talked ad nauseum, especially recently, like the internet this and fan backlash this. And I think that he's doing this honestly to be like, guys, it's not as easy as you think. Like, let us just try and enjoy the product. You can criticize it, but like to be hurling these insults and to be, taking down people's families and stuff like that because you're not happy with what you're seeing on the screen. Like, I think this is like love letter to how hard creative is. Also, if they were going to try and do stuff from way back when, I mean, you kind of have to get Vince involved because he was always the be all end all on that. And I don't know if they're going to do that. So I think it's all going to be recent stuff, as much as I would love for it to be like, a decade plus old stuff of those really, like you said, Song, controversial moments. Aaron?
All right. We got a couple more here. So Psycho Jet Black sent in $2. Did you guys see that Triple H wax figure? He says it's more credible than Scrubby Allen. I tell you this, they should market those and sell those to the diehards, because imagine you having one of those in your home, or even for Halloween, putting that out on your front lawn. You know how they have like those life-size Jasons and, all these different horror characters and stuff like that. Like, They should sell those, $500 a pop. I know there's some diehards that would buy that,
I will just say, in Florida, that would melt in a heartbeat. So you wouldn't catch me buying a wax figure inside or outside.
or just a figure. It doesn't have to be made out of wax.
Okay,
just
gotcha.
something you could put out in front of your home and scare all the kids for Halloween. That would be great.
That would be great.
And speaking of horror, Psycho Jet Black off topic here. What's the best Evil Dead movie? I say 2, Dead by Dawn. Virtue, I know you're
really good.
Yeah, I mean, I think the first one's the best one. 2 is drastically different. They're all really good. My favorite was Army of Darkness because it was really hokey, but I love the medieval. So I would just say the first one, but Aaron has a really good point on the second one. Probably could be as well.
I mean, we can't go wrong with any of
Dude,
them.
the Ash versus Evil Dead series, all 30 episodes as a whole unit. That was awesome.
No, that was entertaining too. I agree. Can't go wrong with any of them. Psychojet Black sent in a $5 super chat. Thank you for that. Says, should the Bloodline bring in new members or should they finally shut down the faction? And how would you make Solo Sikoa a credible heel for Jacob Fatu? Well, Virtue, I know you've been big on the Bloodline. Do you think it's finally time to just end it? Do they need to add more people?
I just don't think they really call them the Bloodline. Just let them be there. Like, you can still have Solo kind of with Fatu and then, feud them at some point. You don't have to call any of them the Bloodline. Unless The Rock's coming in to claim head of the table over Roman, everybody's moved on from it.
Yeah, I agree.
Roman won it, right? Back, from Solo, and Rock acknowledged him, and to me that was the conclusion, unless they're going to do Rock and Roman down the road.
Yeah. And as far as Solo goes, I think he just has to win matches. That's typically how you build somebody as being credible. Gino?
Yeah, so I would just say he wasn't out there for Fatu's championship match at WrestleMania. He helped come out for a second and then went to the back, didn't walk down the ramp with him. So I think Fatu's going to be wrestling these matches, title defenses, what have you, without Solo Sikoa there. So the easiest way to make Solo a kind of a credible heel is to cost Jacob Fatu a championship match, have him come and you think he's coming to help Jacob, turns and hits him. We've seen it 100 times, works every time. And then Fatu is out for blood, and we want to see him destroy his former I Love You Solo tribal chief.
Sounds good to me. This guy Experience sent in a $2 super chat. Thank you for that. Says, Virtue, Aaron, Cody losing thanks to Travis, fair or unfair? Oh, here we go with this again.
So neither, because he didn't cost Cody. Cody got his receipt on him, even if it was a fake receipt, put him in the crossroads. Cody had the title belt in his hand and could have clocked Cena, and then the low blow from Cena. So Travis Scott did not affect the outcome of the match. He came out and got his receipt from Cody. Then they did the whole thing where Cody had a decision to make, kind of like Roman last year, hitting Rollins with the chair, and then we know what happened.
Well, I would ask you, Virtue, though, didn't Travis Scott pull the ref out when Cody was about to win the match cleanly without having to use those tactics?
We don't know if Cena wasn't going to kick out. Cena and Roman Reigns are the master of the kickouts more than anybody else, so you can't assume that was going to be a 3 count.
I love that. That's very well said.
Against certain other wrestlers, maybe. Against Cena, you can't.
Brilliant take. I love it.
But Cody, the match continued, and Cody still had the opportunity to take Cena out after Travis Scott, right?
Right.
So Travis Scott would have had to cost Cody right then and there, and Cody wouldn't have never had another opportunity again. But he had the opportunity, but he didn't, and then the low blow from Cena. Right? That's how it happened, right?
Yes.
Yeah, okay.
If I remember correctly. All right, Aaron, any more super chats?
Well,
Dwayne.
Dwayne, go ahead.
I was going to touch on this one. I was going to bring this up as well earlier. Another thing that you could always tell in big matches, especially like with Cody and John Cena, is the fact is, in order for Cody to win a match, he's got to deliver at least 4 or 5 crossroads to win, and he only just delivered one, went for the pinfall. So it's pretty safe to say that we already knew Cena's going to probably kick out anyway.
Good point.
Fair point. So we're caught up. Gino, we can start doing our plugs. Great show. Great to have Virtue back. Lots of discussion tonight, and thank you all. Make sure you guys spread the word. Go ahead, Gino.
Yeah, Aaron, I think we had one more super chat come in late, though, from Hamp Connell.
Oh, Hamp is here. We got to get Hamp on. It's long overdue.
Yeah, Hamp is on my list for at least next time I'm hosting.
All right. Hamp said Triple H needed my help because his booking couldn't sell a dead mouse to a cat and offer my hard work. His ego took over, so I left. Is the real story. Who said that quote?
I think he's fake quoting The Rock.
Oh, okay. The Elimination Chamber was selling pretty good before The Rock was announced for it. So I don't know. I mean, I don't know what they were expecting.
But I mean, let everybody, The Rock, he grew up in this business. Yeah. Remember how many times he said that in the press conference?
Right.
I grew up in this business.
Yeah. Yeah, I think we're caught up here now. So thank you, Hamp. Gino, throw it over to you.
Absolutely. So thank you so much, Virtue, Mr. Tito, Colin, Dwayne, Song, Aaron, for my opportunity, and my new tribal chief, Seth freaking Rollins, for the opportunity to host this show. I was really nervous coming in. I hope you guys enjoyed it. And Virtue, it was great to have you back on. I don't think I've ever seen you on where you weren't the moderator. So I think that this was awesome. I'm looking forward to the rotating dynamic that we're going to have moving forward. Guys, I hope you enjoyed the show. Great takes from everybody. I'm going to throw it over to Dwayne. Hit us with your plugs. You got anything to plug?
Actually, no, I don't. But I just want to say, thank you for allowing me to be here. Been following the channel now for about 11 years, and I've been wanting to be on this for a long time. Dream come true for me, and I really hope to God I can be invited back one day. I really enjoyed this. Great seeing you guys again.
Absolutely.
Thank you.
Well done. Before we move up, I think another super chat came in, Aaron.
Yep. Psycho Jet Black. He's coming in here at the end. Will John Cena tap out in his final match? Will Cena give up when his whole thing has been never give up? What do you guys think? Yes or no? Thumbs up, thumbs down.
It's a good story. I don't see it though.
No, so thumbs down.
Booking an I Quit match could be interesting for his final match.
I like that. I think they should. Maybe that's when John Cena finally gives up and has enough, and he's like, I'm done. Maybe they do that for Survivor Series. I Quit match for his final match. There you go. All right, we can get back to the plugs.
Yeah. So again, thank you, Dwayne. Colin, the interim host, he's back again. He booked the wrong horse in that triple threat, but it's okay. Colin, you got anything to plug for us?
I mean, I might have booked the wrong horse, but I'm still tied for first with you, bud. So, no, great job. Great job. Virtue, great to see you back, my brother. Follow me, NoDQ, or the Cleaver NoDQ on Twitter and YouTube. And always show love to Big Vito LaGrasso over at the Big Vito brand. Thanks for having me back this week. It's been fun. Again, a little different this week, just be able to sit back and kick it. But Song, great to see you, buddy. It's been a long time since we worked together. Dwayne, I know I tried to get you on last week, but I'm glad you made it this week. And again, let's give it up one more time for Gino. Great job with that, buddy. Great job with that.
Thank you.
See you
Thank you
next
so
time,
much.
y'all.
And Jeff Song over here with cooking up his takes. It's good to have you back. You got anything to plug for us today?
Yes, I do.
Oh, no.
Alrighty,
Botch.
so I'm experimenting now with 2 YouTube channels. So right there at Sun Goshoku Wrestling is now my dedicated WWE channel. I already have my WrestleMania 41 review up, and coming soon will be a live stream where I will be ranking every match, and I will also have another live stream where we're going to rank the 3 WrestleMania trilogies. So I'll be having everything go on my Sun Goshoku Wrestling channel there. And of course, if you're a fan of Dragon Ball, I will have my Dragon Ball content still going on my main channel if you want to check it out. It's almost at 7,000 subscribers, so any help definitely is always appreciated. I put a lot of effort, production values, as you can see in the screenshot there. You can also follow me on all my social media platforms, Facebook, X, Instagram, and TikTok right there at Sun Goshoku. It is always a pleasure to come on here and talk professional wrestling with you gentlemen. Thank you all so much, just giving me the opportunity. I think it really has helped make me better in streaming and podcasting with my own content, so it always is great. And Gino, I think you did a fantastic job, and I'm looking forward to the rotation of the panels for the moderators here. So let's keep NoDQ going strong, and everyone have a great one and be blessed, and let's all continue enjoying professional wrestling.
Damn it.
Well put, Song. All right, so our original review moderator has taken a step back to let other people enjoy the shine. He is basically the Roman Reigns of NoDQ and NoDQ Review. Virtue, pleasure to have you back. Where can people find you?
Now, of course, next week I will be the moderator. I'm coming back to do the moderator, and then the rotation will begin. As you know, follow me if you dare on x.com at NoDQ_Virtue. We now have the new alliance of all alliances right there. Rock has been replaced with CM Punk on my photo. And then, of course, go to NoDQ.com/merch And there is the new ORM shirt, the new NoDQ review shirt. Get those as well. It might take a month or so to get, but hopefully they get their beginning of the year orders caught up, and then things will start rolling in. And I'm looking forward to getting my all white with black letter ORM shirt, but I don't think I'll have it in time for next week. But thank you, everybody.
Well put. Aaron?
Well, it was a pleasure. Thank you, everyone, for being on tonight. Almost 2 hours. It was a very busy week, so we had a lot to discuss. We do have SmackDown coming up on Friday. Maybe some interesting returns on SmackDown. And then next week's Raw, we'll see some of the fallout continue from WrestleMania. And next week's review should be an interesting one with Virtue back moderating. And we'll see who's on the panel next week. You never know who's going to be on the NoDQ review. So keep spreading the word, spread the love. Thank you all so much. Gino, go ahead and final thoughts before we go.
One last time, guys. Thank you so much, Aaron, Virtue, everybody, for making this community. Colin, Dwayne, Song for joining on my inaugural hosting. You made me comfortable. You've made it amazing. If you guys want to catch me outside of the NoDQ review and predictions, you can find me at my YouTube channel. Just search YouTube for Papagino 0017. I will be live all night tomorrow night until Aaron starts his review of AEW. So come check me out over there. We're going to be talking wrestling. We're going to be live streaming games. We're going to be having a blast. And thank you so much again to the NoDQ Galaxy for showing up. We hope you enjoyed this as much as we did. Check out the NoDQ.com store for merch. And as always, guys, catch you on the next one. Bye-bye.